Hey guys, it's Kevin with Mix Coach. Last week I had a tracking session at a place called Sound Emporium, and I wanted to record a video and kind of show you everything that I did, but I ran out of time because tracking sessions are typically very time intensive. So I did, however, take some pictures, and I thought I would just kind of show you some pictures and show you kind of the basics of what we did. So, like I said, we were at the Sound Emporium, and they have a Trident 80B, which is one of my favorite consoles. It's not it's probably not a calling card kind of console, but it kind of is because it does what it does so well. The EQ is nice. Um, the mic pre's are nice and clean. It's kind of an old school board, but it really works, and I was really impressed with it by the end of the 3 days that I was tracking. This is a view into the control room from the main booth or the main studio. And we use Pro Tools, and that's a very artsy screenshot for you there. The monitoring system that we use for the musicians is called the Q8, and I don't know if you can't read it because it's out of focus, but it has 8 channels. Each channel has a pan and a volume knob. At the very top, the red knob at the top is the volume, the overall volume, and to the left of that is bass and treble. So it's a really cool system. Especially for 10 years ago, 15 years ago when this thing first came out, it was pretty cutting edge. So what I was doing is I ran the first 2 faders was drums and bass. The second 2 faders was all the guitars. One of the days we had an acoustic and electric player, and what I just did was pan the acoustic on one side and pan the electric to the center. I mean the electric to the other side. And then there's 2 tracks of keys, which was keyboard, B3, and piano, and then there was click and vocal. This is an artsy shot of the Nashville number system that we use to guide the session. This is what all the musicians read, and it's what I go by. All the sections are marked there, and then there's usually 8 bars per line. And anyway, if you see down toward the middle of the page there's some rhythmical markings and rest and things like that. So it's a pretty cool system. Wayne Hahn was producing, and he wrote those charts himself. And even though his charts can look kind of scratchy sometimes, all the musicians are incredible, and they were able to really create some music. Okay, this studio had a sidecar of Jeffrey Daking mic pre's, and these are basically is a direct schematical copy of the old Trident A-range consoles, which is one of my favorite consoles. I'll tell you a little bit more about this particular sidecar. If you notice at the bottom, there's a bunch of red marks. That is a clue of things to come. So I ran the kick and snare top and the toms and the overhead and room through this. Now what you see on the right is our compressor limiters made by Daking, and I like the way those sounds on the acoustic. We usually ran that through the acoustic. I'd never gotten a chance to run a whole sidecar before, but anyway, here's a better view of the compressor limiter. It was pretty impressive, actually. I liked it. Here's another view of the 8 channels of Daking mic pre's, and I think there's 8 channels of the compressor too. I hit the snare with this DBX 165A. It just gives it, and I was barely moving the needle, but it gave it just a little bit of containment on the snare. This is another shot of the 80B. And if you see the left, I've got an API lunchbox too. Let's see. I think the electric guitars are run through the first channels of 5. I think those are 512s. The first 2 channels are the electric guitar, the third channel is the scratch vocal, and the fourth channel is the hi-hat. So we ran those through the external pre's. There's another shot of that. Okay, let's talk about the guitars. This is Kelly back. He is probably the main reason that the guitars sound good on this session. I wish I had some audio samples, but we just cut the tracks last week, and maybe if you can remind me, I can upload one of the tracks or something for you to listen to, like a rough 2 mix or something. Now this is Kelly. He's a session musician in Nashville, and you can see he's got several guitars. That white Les Paul is mine, so And then that Telecaster right beside it is mine too. I brought him for him to play, and I think he has a Gretsch in his hand there and several other guitars. This is where we put the acoustic guitar. If you can see, there's a Q8 there, and that SM57 is for talkback. There's a Studer microphone right there, this one here, which I was very impressed with. I'd never heard of a Studer microphone before, but with further investigations, we found out that this Studer is actually was made by Sheps, and they put the Studer brand on it, and then, of course, Sheps made microphones after that. It's a beautiful sounding microphone. Okay, back to the, these are a little out of order, back to the Kelly's station. This is when he wasn't there. There's a pedal board, a bunch of guitars there. Bogner amplifier, he had several amps. Okay, this is my Fathead on the top and the SM57 on the bottom, and what I did was I mixed the two together. They're right up in the grill on one of the, I think that's 2 cabinets. I asked Kelly actually which one he preferred. He told me that one there, so we put both of those mics on there. This is a view of Kelly's pedal board. Some really cool sounding stuff. I'll let you take a look at that for a second. That Keeley compressor is one of the cool, really cool guitar sounding compressors, and that POG 2 is for really delay, real keyboardy type of sounds. OCD is the limiter. I mean the kind of like a driver. Anyway, I'll let you take a look at that. And a volume pedal on the right, just out of the shot. That's Kelly again, kind of just goofing off. Okay, well, this is supposed to be in the bass. This is what we mic the bass guitar with. That's an 80K Area 51. That electric voice at the top is for talkback. And here's the bass. So let's go back there real quick. That is pretty much set up where we were playing acoustic bass that day and electric bass. We only used one mic for the bass itself, and then we had 2 acoustic bass players. One was using a direct, and the other one was using and the mic, and the other one was just using the mic. This is basically a U47 copy made by 80K, and it's actually a pretty good sounding microphone. And this was an ISO booth between the main room and the studio. This was on the second day. This is a Tyler bass, and we pretty much just ran him through a direct box, a really good direct box. Can't remember the name of the direct box, but that was his bass. It's a really good sounding bass. There's another shot of the 80K Area 51 microphone. Okay, keys. I didn't really put these in a good order either. This is the Yamaha C7, and if you can tell, the on the left there is a microphone, and the right is a microphone. I'll tell you a little bit more about those. These are microphones called Octavas, O-K-T-A-V-A, and I'll tell you, I haven't been as impressed with any mic as much as I have with this mic. There's supposedly a mod that you can put on these mics to make them sound like a KM84, but these 2 mics right out of the box sounded really, really good. And they're only like $200 a piece. So, yeah, I would highly recommend those. Let's see, let me run back here real quick. This is the Leslie, and I don't... There is an RE20 at the bottom on the bottom horn, and there's 2 57s on either side of the horn. At the top, there's 2. If you've never seen a Leslie before, matter of fact, let me zoom out of this just a little bit. Excuse my phone there. Yeah, I took this shot. Yeah, okay, you're seeing the ugly behind-the-scenes stuff here. We're putting it together. Okay, this is a Leslie 122. The 122s are taller, and you can see it's got a drum there at the bottom. And there's a RE20 on that. And then at the top, there's a SM57. Okay, nothing fancy there. I basically routed those together to a stereo output. Talk about drums. This is John Hammond. Those are 2 U87s on the top, 421s on the toms. I had a D112 on the inside, facing not right at the beater, but just to the right of the beater, which gave it a lot of snap. I don't think I even EQ'd it. And this here is a speaker out of something. A lot of people use like an NS10 speaker, about that size speaker. What is that? 5-6 inch speaker, and we ran that through the direct box. It has 2 wires coming out there at the bottom there, and it goes straight into a 1/4 inch jack, right into a direct box, and the direct box is coming through like a I think it was coming through the Trident 80B mic pre. Another artsy shot of the 421s on the toms. This is John Hammond's collection of snares, which I don't know how many he actually used that day, but I counted 2 maybe. But all those snares are really good sounding snares, but he has to have those things just for whatever kind of song he's using. There's John. His rack is to the right. You can see the U87s pretty closely. That's John calling me. This is a view from the inside of the control room. This is John with another face. Symbols moving. Anyway, this is from John's position. SM57 on the snare. That is actual KM84 on the hi-hat. And that's a drum cat, which he uses for a music stand. And he used to use that for percussion and stuff. He doesn't quite so much anymore. There's an MPC 60 on the bottom and Adrenaline in the middle there, the purple thing, and then a bunch of stuff to gack up a loop with, which we never used. I was going to tell you a little bit about the process. Usually that's Wayne there on the far left. That is Daniel O'Lanerty. He played bass on the second day, and then just to the right of that I can't recognize. I think one of them is a piano player, David Hunsinger. And I don't know who it was on the other side of that. Maybe Kelly's head. This is from where the drums are, looking to the left, to his left, where the piano was. John Hammond there in the middle. Kelly and the musicians there listening to the song. On the songs that we didn't have a work tape or an MP3 to listen to, Wayne would actually go in there and bang out some stuff on the piano, and they would listen, look at their charts, make changes, make suggestions, and then sometimes they would come in and listen to things and make suggestions there. That's me on the left with a nearly shaved head, and that's Wayne Hahn, my business partner and longtime friend and a genius producer on the right there. It's Kelly again. There's me. Some of these shots were taken by Tyler Bergren. He's a friend of mine that came into town, and I just took some pictures. That's Wayne over to the front. We had the actual, that's an SM7, and Wayne was actually singing scratch vocals in the control room. Excuse all these pictures. They just kind of accidentally got grouped together. There's another shot of the 80B. There is me at the 80B. That's Wayne and the artist, Ernie Haas. Some Don Audio acoustics right there. Oops. Don Audio acoustics that we unplugged and used because I don't know them that well. And we used the old standby, the ENS10s, which I love dearly. Wayne singing, me looking around, me doing work, John playing drums, me smiling. Okay, so you pretty much know how I set everything up. I was going to tell you what I was the most impressed with, which is this microphone and that Studer microphone. But this is the Octava microphone, and like I said, for $200, this is a great sounding microphone. You can buy. There's a guy named I forget the guy's name who does the mods on them, but I would love to hear the mod compared to this. And this is the thing I was the least impressed with. I ended up running most of my drums through there to begin with, and between the first and second song on the first day, my kick drum just suddenly started sounding like crap. So put it in the the A range, I mean the 80B mic pre, and it sounded amazing just out of the box with no EQ. On the second day, my snare started to sound the same way, and then by the second day, I think I moved everything over to the 80B except for the overheads in the rooms, which they didn't give us any problem, at least not that I know of right now. So anyway, that's a little tour of what I did last week. I hope you find this kind of stuff cool and helpful. If you've got any questions, comment below this video, and I'll be glad to answer them, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.